is there any great win outside of UNC, truthfully, in the ACC for Duke or UNC, like against each other? Do you look back on any win and go, man, that was the best win I had, or a great win outside of the rivalry in the ACC?
Nah. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Better Blue Podcast, hosted by yours truly, James Michael McAdoo, my brother Ryan Kelly.
From this side of the couch.
What's up, brother?
Man.
We made it, 2023.
More importantly, you just turned 30.
I know. I shaved the beard off, man.
You look younger, actually.
Family's coming back in town. It's been a long few, not a few months, but well over a month.
Felt like a few
6
months
weeks
for you,
solo.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Excited to have them back. Excited to be back on the pod, talking about all things Carolina basketball, Duke Blue Devil basketball. It's been a great first half of the season. I think we definitely have a lot of room to grow, both as prospective potential, contenders.
Yeah, we got some growth to do here with this podcast too.
We do. And we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all, your support. We see the comments. We see the shade y'all throwing. We love it, baby.
All of it. All of it is great.
All of it.
As always, Better Blue Podcast on all platforms. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Check us out on Apple Pod, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Appreciate all the support, like we're saying. And
any potential sponsorships, any potential partnerships.
Hey.
Please feel free to reach out.
Throw it in the mailbag if you want.
Throw it in the mailbag.
betterbluepodcast@gmail.com.
We are open. We are a self-made podcast, self-funded podcast. And although we do have a great producer, Devin, that works wonders.
No, he does indeed.
So what are we doing today, man? Let the people know just so they can get an idea.
Yeah, now that we're really hitting the meat of the ACC season here, which, as we've joked a bunch of times, we've talked about how the ACC seems to be going earlier and earlier. I actually did a little bit of research on that, looking back at Duke's schedule. Sorry, this isn't giving you the lowdown, but 2017, Duke had a early December game, like it was December 9th or something, against Boston College. But I think it was like the only one pre-Christmas in the ACC. Now it is the norm where I think have you guys had 3 or 4 games you had before?
Yes.
January 1st.
Yeah, before the New
and
Year.
we had 3.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But we're in it now.
We're in the ACC
I
think both of us have 7 ACC games.
In the month of January. Yeah, so this is it. So we figured to start that off, we'd actually take a look back into what our coaches would say the preseason was all to get ready for this tough part of the schedule. And we're going to talk a little bit about some preseason conditioning stuff that we loved or didn't love. And then figured we'd talk a little bit away from the rivalry, but in the ACC, get into our worst losses of our careers in the ACC. Again, outside of the Duke-Carolina rivalry, because we'll save that for another time where we might be playing each other. And also just a little conversation about what we would think maybe are our best wins outside of the Duke-Carolina rivalry in the ACC. So plenty of good stuff to hit today. And, let's get after it.
I would have to say one of the nicest things about being a pro, little to no conditioning.
Oh, that's so true. Except.
You can. Sorry. Actually, go ahead.
I did have one experience with quite a bit of conditioning. Actually, 2 seasons.
Yeah, you did
surprisingly with the Lakers.
That's unfortunate. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, Coach Byron Scott, former Laker great player. He was a big conditioning guy, and we did quite a bit of conditioning in the preseason. Those couple of years, enough that I pulled a hammy.
You did tell me that.
With the stop and go of quite a bit of running.
This was like in season though, also.
Oh, and in this season, yeah. Well, it didn't help that we were bad.
Right. That
so
never helps.
It was kind of like a little bit of punishment. Byron was famous for, at least my time, with the Lakers, he'd call the media in right at the end of practice and then put us on the line just right when the media.
Just to show, hey.
Yeah, just to show. Just so you know.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah. He let everybody know. So that wasn't fun. But generally speaking,
you're right.
Not a lot of straight up sprint running, touch the line.
Yep.
Suicides, if you're allowed to call them that anymore. I don't think you even are.
And I will say, in my old age, I just forgot. I played for a coach, Duško Ivanović. Duško Ivanović.
That sounds like a guy that would make you run.
When I was in Turkey, Beşiktaş, who was, I don't want to misspeak here, I think he was Serbian Montenegrin.
Those are two different things.
He was
right
a former EuroLeague player, very high-level player, very successful player in Europe. And he is notorious for making his teams run. See, I had even forgot. I had put it so far out of my mind. As a matter of fact, he just took over for the team Red Star, Cervezda, which is the main rivalry of Partizan, a team that I played for later. So he recently took over for that team, and it blew up on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, news,
how much
websites.
They're running.
Yes,
I saw that.
That was him saying his first practice was like 6 hours long. We're going to get Devin to clip that and show y'all because it's true. And all his former players, I didn't say anything, but all his –
You wanted to.
I wanted to. A lot of his former players chimed in saying just how crazy it was. I think one of them was Sauce Castillo.
Oh.
Kid from Michigan.
Yeah.
Played for him when he coached at Baskonia after he had left Beşiktaş.
I can't remember the kid's name.
What's the kid's name?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, conditioning for us was he would just put, similar to what you maybe said about B. Scott, he would just put 4 cones out, put the trash cans up, and we would just run for 25 minutes.
Yep,
and the crazy thing is, he would get one of the young Turkish kids that had to, that barely played, one of the young kids, one of the young guards, and he would be the pace man.
Oh.
So he's just like, of course, he's got to listen to the coach.
Yeah, he's got to go.
He'd be like, go.
And
we would have to keep up.
Oh.
They took us one time to the mountains, man, and we were out there on the soccer field. Dudes was just dropping like flies. And kid you not, halfway through that year, I popped my hammy.
Yep.
I was in the best shape of my life before I did that, though.
Same exact thing. Me too.
I was in the best shape of my life. Body percent fat was crazy. Wifey was looking at me like, well, you look good. I'm like, I got no choice. I'm dead.
It wasn't worth it.
I'm coming home dead. Sawyer's like, what's wrong with Daddy? Why is he all cranky? He's just, man, I'm going through it.
I can see the
bone
bone structure in your face.
Other than that, though, I had it very easy. Now, college was another cup of tea. So when I first got to UNC, at the beginning of the year, we always have a mile test, first day of class. So we get there before your first day of class. We're out there on the track, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and everybody's split up into, different time, guards, wings, bigs, forwards, whatever.
Got something to say about that, but go ahead and finish your story.
So you have to finish your mile run, which relatively easy. You got to be some kind of out of shape not to be able to make your mile time.
But what was your time for a big?
It was probably like 6 something, 6 in the high, like
high sixes.
I don't know, Ryan. To be honest, that was an educated guess.
Okay,
does that sound right?
Well, so at Duke,
what was your
the reputation that now players would talk.
Yeah,
we talk and be like, Carolina, man, they take care of their bigs.
They do.
Bigs have different times.
There's different times for sure.
At Duke, everybody had to be under 6 minute mile.
Oh no, sir.
Everybody had to be under 6 minute mile.
I think mine was for sure. For sure over 6, for sure. Like there was never even a thought in my mind I'm not gonna make it. No one ever did not make it.
The story goes that at Duke, Coach K has always had players run the mile. This could be completely made up, but the story goes that in the 90s, Steve Wojciechowski got to Duke, and he was like, I'm beating all of you in the mile run. And then he obviously became a coach, and he created it used to just be you just do it. Like you just knock it out. Then he created you got to beat this time.
Oh, okay.
You have to, and since then it's been everybody under 6 minutes.
Wow.
And that wasn't easy for me.
Yeah, no, I mean.
That was not easy for me.
I mean, miles they're difficult, but if you put your mind to it.
Well, especially with other people. I feel like when you have people running the pace with you, but I'm probably going to rat some people out here, so I'll just go ahead and rat them out because it was me too. But the classic was a lot of times we would be running the track and the coaches would like be at the top of the stadium doing the old, they're watching us run.
Our coaches would be at like the 4, quote unquote, like the 4 turns, yelling out the times.
Oh, so our coaches wouldn't run it. They'd be up watching, and then our strength guy would be there doing the times. Okay. But you had like the all-seeing eye from up top looking down. One year, for whatever reason, I think it was my senior year, either junior or senior. I think it was my senior year. The coaching staff was like, we're recruiting the morning we were doing this. Same as you guys. It was like right before school started. We got there. We ran the mile. And it was just our strength guy that was doing the time. So he couldn't see the whole track. Like he was at the start and finish line. And, everybody hugged those
as you should
those corners real tight, technically
that's
if you're
how
running
professionals do it.
but I think you're supposed to be on the outside of the line technically to get the distance. So senior year, everybody was a little aware.
Like PE class flashbacks. Like 5th grade dudes are just like cutting clear across the field.
So we were cutting the end zones. You couldn't you're not in the football field, but you're cutting off
for sure
a little chunk on the both wings of it.
All matters.
And I promise you, Coach Will, I'm sorry if you hear this, man, because we all finished with the best times of our lives.
Oh, that's fun.
And he was like, legitimately, he was like, you guys are in the best shape that you guys have ever come to. We don't have to run as much as preseason. We ran less that whole preseason because we all cut the lines a little bit. Don't tell on me, okay?
That reminds me of like one time when I was in lower school and you would have to do like the physical fitness test, like the mile run, and we would do ours like through the neighborhood back behind the school. We all like cut like a whole street, and like I just remember the PE teacher like rolling up like busted. Moving on.
Yeah.
So after the mile run, we did have like weight room conditioning, where you were doing like plyometric type stuff, and then getting out on the court, or we had like a little Meadowmont Hill, which was like a little neighborhood right outside of, right off campus, where we would kind of run up this grassy hill. But nothing was harder than the actual test of you had to run 33s, which I think it was like 10 33s. This was like the end-all, be-all, boss level.
Yeah.
Got to pass this.
Yep.
And it was basically what 33s are. They're just 3 lengths of the court, down, back, down, back, down, back in 33 seconds.
Tough.
But actually, for the bigs, like you talked about, we didn't have to be back to the end line. We had to be back between, I think it was like basically the 3-point line.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like, it was like guards were there, forwards were like free throw line, and then bigs were like basically the 3-point line.
My goodness.
However, my freshman year, your boy KO'd. Passed out, bro.
You passed out?
I passed out. Not in the actual test, though. I didn't even make it to the boss level test, right?
Even before that?
Yes. So this was one of the lead ups. I remember we did the Meadowmont Hill, breezed through that. This was one of the ones where we had a lift. They set me up, bro.
Oh, so they got you with the lift first.
So we went and lifted first, and then we went out and did a little plyometric series. This is where I told you where there was like, you had to do the spin bike, then you had to do like the ropes. Then there was like, they tied a band around the end, like around the goalpost, and you had to like slide out, slide back. What really got me was the one, I think I showed you. They had a little like big gymnastic pillow, and on top of it, you had to do like crisscross. I don't know what that's called.
You did show that to me.
I showed that to you because it was before we even talked about this podcast. I told you about this memory. So we do all of that. The lactic acid is just, I'm just one big lactic acid human being.
It's so heavy.
We get on the baseline. I've never ran a 33 in my life. I think we only had to run like 5 or 6, which I could do now with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
But I had no idea how to pace yourself.
Yeah.
I had no idea how to like bust out, My OG, Justin Watts, was a pro at this. He taught me the 1, 2, 3. When you get off the line, you got to hit them with the 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? You just got to get off the line.
That's the difference.
And then you breathe.
The change of direction.
2,
yeah.
Shout out to my guy, Jay Watts. I don't know where he was at this moment in my life, but I get up there. We running. I'm big, this is my first opportunity to make an impression on coach.
You're like, I got to.
And we bust out maybe 1 or 2 of those, and what we called it was the silverback. So there's a silverback, for y'all that don't know, that lives in the Dean Dome. And occasionally it'll come down and it'll get on your back. That silverback came down up out of them rafters and was, bro, by that second or third one, bro, I was wheezing, bro. But I wasn't gonna quit, man. So I ended up I just went until I couldn't. I passed out, bro.
Wow.
I passed out. All I remember is Coach Roy saying, "James, get up, James Michael." He's sitting right there in his chair, probably with his little Diet Sprite. Get up, James Michael. James Michael, get up. I couldn't get up. Nobody said nothing.
Like you just
I couldn't get up, bro. I blacked out.
Okay,
blacked out. Yeah. Just laid down, just wheezing. That was it, man. I didn't do any more of the conditioning. I had to like go get some tests done, all type of. I was out, bro. I was out cold.
I shouldn't laugh because that's
you should laugh,
but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, so my boys
because you can laugh at my stories
too. It was bad, bro.
My stories are bad too because our big, other than the mile, the conditioning test that we would work up to was called the 10 ladder.
Okay,
and the 10 ladder was you go 10 lengths in a time. I wish I knew the time off the top of my head. It was 10 lengths. Then you'd have to pace, like you have to walk to the other end, but not
10 lengths of the floor or the whole of camera? Because you know when
10 lengths of the floor,
okay.
like baseline to baseline, 10 lengths.
Okay.
Then you'd walk to the other end, 9 lengths.
Okay, and then
walk 8 all the way down to 1, and then 2 more 10s at the end.
Ooh, but there was time.
And it was time. You had a time for each one of those runs, and it was like you had a certain number of seconds. It was only like it wasn't a lot of seconds to get back on the walk back.
Like 10 seconds.
You had a pace walk.
More than 10.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was like 12 or 15 or something like that.
When we did our 33 test, there was groups, so you usually had like 66 seconds.
Yeah. We didn't do the 10 ladder my senior year. I was coming off of at that point foot injury, and like I wasn't going to be doing all that sprinting. I don't think I completed the 10 ladder myself.
I'm glad to know that.
Ever.
That makes.
And I was the guy. I'm not alone in this. It was not like I was the only.
You're not a slow guy, bro.
But I'm not fast either.
That's true.
I'm not a gazelle out there. It looks like it hurts sometimes when I'm running. But you play with me, man. You know.
But I mean,
I'm not slow. I'm not the slowest guy in the world, but I'm not the fastest guy either.
Sprints are tough, bro.
Yeah.
Sprints, you got to be trained in them things.
The change of direction is hard. The change of direction.
I was out there like my thighs was looking like Ronnie Coleman and what, like my joints was just bulging.
So I was the guy that in this 10 ladder, buying into, and it's the right thing. It was good, but like buying into, we got to do this as a team, all that stuff. I'm the guy, again, not alone, who's like at the free throw line or at the 3-point line is 1 second and is diving, like trying to make the line.
Good man. At least you was able to make the line. Good for you, bro. That was what I was trying to do.
Still not making it. Not making it. But like I'm going all out,
That's what I was before I passed out. I was that guy. I'm like, goodness, like it's awkward.
So I don't think I ever completed the 10 ladder. And we would through the preseason, we would work up to it. We do like 5 ladder, 6 ladder, 7 ladder. Yeah. But I don't think I could ever do the 10 ladder.
Yeah. Probably looking back at it, one of my happiest, proudest moments was my sophomore year when I passed the 33 test. It's like, phew, all right, here we go, baby. Let's try this again. I was literally practicing them at home back in Norfolk, practicing 33s.
I just remember my freshman year being there and running this 10 ladder and looking over, and Zoobs, Brian Zubek, he was running, but he was on the other court of the K Center. And I was like, man, how does he get out of this? And then I realized he had broken his foot at one point in his college career. And then, irony of all irony, by my end of my junior year, I'm breaking my foot and not running it anymore. And
you were him.
Yeah. So that I think, would you say was more of a physically got you ready for the demands of the season, or was it more of a mental team? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was definitely mental team. I don't think it. Yeah. Looking back at it, I'm like, bro, there were still moments where I was tired.
Yeah.
I
feel like that probably actually physically was more detrimental, even though we were young and
1,000%.
young legs. But I still feel like it probably was not the best thing for the body. But it was just.
Yeah, they got to do it.
Yeah, it was a mind.
Yeah, it was all mind.
Yeah,
bringing guys together, seeing who's coaches are trying to see who's going to break. Boy broke. Your boy got broken. I was broken.
We've all broken at some point.
Sorry, Coach.
Yeah. So, those aren't fun for any of you that have not experienced
they
at
don't
college.
Bring the recruits to those moments.
No, they do not. No, they don't go to that practice or no, they come to the Midnight Madness when the guys are out dancing and all that, but having the time of their life. But, so I try to forget about most of that. So now that we've talked about it, let's just, it's gone. It's gone again. Forget about it again. Well, now we have to talk about something that's also not great to talk about.
Worst team loss in your ACC career outside of the rivalry, like you said.
Outside of the rivalry.
Yeah.
You want to start with losses or?
Yeah, let's do well, we can do wins first.
Let's do wins because I think for me it brings up a conversation.
Okay.
And that conversation is,
that's true.
Is there any great win outside of UNC, truthfully, in the ACC for Duke or UNC, like against each other? Do you look back on any win and go, man, that was the best win I had, or a great win outside of the rivalry in the ACC?
I mean, I remember, like I told you, I wanted to switch the whole topic of this podcast because I was like, bro, I can't find a win. I can't, Now, we did have opportunities to have wins that we didn't win, but I still feel like I wouldn't have, put them up there with, any type of win that I had against Duke.
Yep.
We played against that Miami team down in Miami when they, had that great team.
Yep.
But we lost.
Yep.
We played, I think my junior year, I think I looked it up. Yeah, we played at the Carrier Dome against a good Syracuse team. That would have been cool to win.
Yep. That was the first year in the ACC.
Yeah, that first year in the ACC.
Yep.
But those are more just like one-off moments. I don't think any of those. And then, of course, we had, good wins against, UVA teams. And, there were some good, maybe not great NC State teams that were ranked, but still good wins that we had, going into Raleigh and getting wins there. But really just, it was tough. It was tough.
It's just the expectation, even when you're not.
Even when you win, it's like, bro, if we didn't blow them out, coach is coming in there like it was a loss.
It was a loss, exactly. Yeah. The expectations both from our coaches, ourselves as the players, but the media, everything. You're just, even if you're not the higher ranked team in some situations, it's just winning outside, Duke, Carolina, like we said, it's just in the ACC, we're supposed to win. We're supposed to be first or second. Now, that's not to say we are every year.
No, by no means.
We are definitely not. But I don't look back. We've talked about it before, but the best win I look back on my ACC career outside of, again, that rivalry is that Miami win that we talked about a pot or two ago, where I came back, and they were a top 5 team in the country. That was a really good win, but I still look back on it and go like, we're supposed to beat this team.
For sure.
We're supposed to.
For sure.
Even if they were higher ranked than us, we're supposed to beat them. And that doesn't take anything away from great teams. I just think I'm the same way as you. Yeah. We started this pod topic this past week. We're like, this is perfect for the heart of the ACC. And then I'm like, what's a good win?
I know. Or not a good win, but like a win that you remember, that you highlight.
Yeah, memorable.
Memorable win.
Yeah.
I think that just, once again, like you said, just speaks to the rivalry. And that's no disrespect to those other teams, because there are extremely talented individuals on those teams and very, historical
programs. I mean,
for sure.
That have very good history. And
but still just, nothing like the wins or losses, we talk about opportunities when we played against, when we lost to y'all at home. Even that loss is more memorable to some of the wins, believe it or not.
And the expectation always is you're going to take every other team in the ACC's best shot.
For sure.
Because they're
at home, they coming in there trying to be the Cinderella.
Yep.
On the road, they trying to storm the court.
Yep.
It's sold out.
Man, and I'm sure you experienced, you were ranked, I would assume, the majority of the time. But even when you weren't a top 5 or top 10 team.
Couldn't tell you the difference.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, we're playing Duke, we're playing Carolina.
It's go
we
time.
Beat them. That's a top tier win for the tournament, or it screws up their season. We got to, that's every away team that we're playing against is like, this is our chance.
It's tough.
We're on national TV. Let's do it.
Yeah, my sophomore and junior year, we got a lot of teams' best shots just because of how good we were. My freshman year, when we went, I think I looked it up, we went 14-2 in the ACC. And then sophomore and junior year, 12-6, 13-5, which isn't bad by any – well, actually, that's pretty bad. 12-6 isn't great. I think both of those years we finished third, which isn't terrible, but there were still some bad losses in there.
Yeah, I was let's see. I was my freshman year 13-3.
Okay.
I was pretty consistent here. 13-3 first in the conference. 13-3 second. 13-3 second.
Yeah.
14-4 second.
Yeah.
I was 53-13 overall.
That just shows you how usually you have to be. You can only lose two or three games to have a shot.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And it's even more difficult now that they've added Syracuse, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, Louisville.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much this year, but you never know.
Generally.
Yeah.
So how about losses?
So worst loss for me is actually
easy to find losses.
Easy to find. Yeah.
If there's only 3 or 4 in a season, then it's like
worst loss by far was my freshman year. We were number 3 team in the country. We went down to Tallahassee, Florida, Tallahassee, and lost to that Florida State Seminole team by 33 points. This was, I think, our second or third game in the ACC. We were definitely riding high. And like I said, we only lost one other ACC game that year, which was to y'all on the buzzer beater. So this was our only other loss. And we went down there, and it was all a blur, which I've said that before. But it was all a blur.
Most losses are a blur.
It was a blur. 90-57. It was one of those early games. I want to say it was a 12 o'clock game.
Oh, those are terrible.
Yeah, it was rough, And funny thing, no matter what time the game was, we always had the same pregame meal. So it'd be like steaks, chicken, and mashed potatoes at like 7 a.m. I'm like, Coach, can we get some eggs here?
Some pancakes?
Some pancakes. Well, dudes are like eating steaks and green beans.
We did the exact same thing.
Moving on.
Yeah.
That had maybe it had an effect on the game.
Might have.
Yeah, man. Davidas Dokis, who I did not know at that time, went 8 for 10 from 3.
Wow.
They had Bernard James on that team. They had a friend of mine, Luke Laux, that was on that team, was their starting guard there, who I actually got to work with when I'm with the Warriors now. And actually, fun fact, him and Davidas are working with Mike Brown with the Sacramento Kings. But, man, they put a beat down. Michael Snare, too.
That was my class.
They rained threes between Dokis had 8, Laux I think had a couple, Snare had a couple, Bernard James had a couple.
Yeah.
They just, it was a just good old-fashioned butt whooping.
And I wouldn't consider 3-point shooting a staple of Florida State generally.
No,
but
Dokis just went. It was Dokis.
Yeah,
it was Dokis.
Yeah.
He the game was over.
Yeah.
And he just went crazy. Your boy Dickie V calling the game, just gassing him up. Craziest thing about that game is, like I said, they were unranked. We were the 3 seed. They put the beat down on us. Even before the game is over, we leave the court. Coach Roy, with like 15 seconds left. Devin, if you can pull the clip, show the people. 15 seconds left in the game. He goes over and shakes Leonard Hamilton's hand. He motions down to the bench like, come on, guys, we're getting out of here.
Because he's expecting the –
yeah, he knew. They're like already holding back the crowd. He left our walk-ons out there. We called them Blue Steel at the time. That was their nickname. Left our guys from Blue Steel out there, man. My bad, guys. Left them out there to fend for themselves, bro. Like, so we're in the locker room. The clock hits 000, and there's just 5 of our Blue Steel walk-on guys still left out there just like
sprinting
running
back,
for their lives. It's not on YouTube, I looked, but after that, later on down the year, after we could laugh about a 33-point loss, there's actually a clip of our strength coach forearm shivering one of the students as they try to like run down and like gets in his way as we're running to the tunnel.
Yeah.
totally just destroys his undergrad.
I think that's fair.
For sure.
Game.
For
that's
sure.
Fair game.
So, needless to say, Coach had a field day on us, 33-point loss. What's our favorite conditioning, Jill? 33s.
Oh, you did 33s after that?
To this day, there probably is still a shadow of the big 33 he wrote on the whiteboard.
Wow.
And it was up there for the rest of the year. Never came down. He wrote literally, probably as big as they can't see it, but that Christmas tree, 33.
Wow.
Put a big old box around it. We get straight back to the Dean Dome. We go straight to film.
Oh.
It was just, we got just destroyed. It was never a game. We were never in the game. It was over. It was over, man. That place was rocking.
Fun.
Yeah, never been a fan of Tallahassee.
No. Going to Florida.
Yeah, it's always generally it's hot.
ACC games.
Yes.
Yeah.
They put a beat down on us. But I think that was good. It was a wake up for us. And we ended up winning the ACC that year, but that was, to this day, by far the worst loss I experienced in college. Nothing holds a candle to that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah. 33 is a lot in college,
That's
bro,
a lot of points.
for a good team.
Yeah. We also had a huge loss, 27. I guess 33 beats 27.
Still up there, though.
It's up there. Thankfully, when I was going back on these losses, I realized that the worst losses somehow I was not very involved in. The first one I'll point out being my senior year, our loss at Miami. That's where we lost 90-63 at Miami. At that point, Miami was a top 25 team, but they had not ascended to being like a top 5 team, as we again talked about after I came back. At this point, my foot was broken. Well, it had been broken, and I did not play. And we got destroyed in a game where I was telling you the stats before. Our starting guards, who are obviously great players, this happens. This is part of basketball. Between the two of them, went 1 for 22 from the field. Sheesh. And we had our guard off the I'll name drop him. Happens, guys. I've had worse. Quinn Cook went 1 for 12, and Seth Curry went 0 for 10. Man. So, in other words,
at Miami,
that just doesn't happen.
They went out for sure.
They
went out for sure.
No, they did not go out.
There's no way.
They did not go out. They just had a tough day at the office. And that Miami, this is probably a top 25 Miami team.
Yeah.
That gym was pretty empty.
Yeah.
They probably had a decent student section.
Yeah, they did. When we played there, they always had a decent student section, but it was never full.
But it was never a full arena.
Never full.
It was probably, like you said, an early afternoon game. It was always early
when we played in Florida, too.
And I would venture to guess that. Now, they were a very good team.
For sure. Larinaga. Jim Larinaga,
Yep. Durant Scott, we've talked about. Durant Scott, coach. Shane Larkin, Trey McKinney-Jones, Kenny Kadji, all those guys. So that right there, I can say I was on that team. I didn't play. So I wasn't part of the shellacking that happened there. Do you have another bad loss?
I would say the only other one that I remembered was my sophomore year. We lost to the Wolfpack. And we talked about this a little bit off camera, just about, I asked you, did you consider Duke and NC State a rivalry? Because that is a big conversation whenever that game comes around, and whenever you may be, stumble across for me, whenever I stumble across a Wolfpack fan at the community pool or down at the, micro brewery, it's always like a conversation, is it a rivalry? So we actually lost to them my sophomore year. It wasn't a blowout. We lost in Raleigh, which was Coach Roy hadn't lost to them. And it was public knowledge going into this game, like, we can't smoke this game, and we smoked it. He hadn't lost to them since like 2007. I think he'd only lost to them. His record with them was like 30-something and like 2. Never lost to them. But we let them down.
In formerly RBC, now PNC Arena, right?
Yep. Yeah. Which was always a great crowd. Yeah. Always rocking. You can always tell that they served alcohol at this arena because they didn't at the Dean Dome.
Yep.
Which sometimes has gotten a bad rap, a wine and cheese crowd. I've heard it
a little bit.
Yeah.
That has been said.
But them boys, they had a good team that year.
Yeah,
they had a good team. They had Lorenzo Brown was their big guy.
Having a great career overseas.
Yeah, having a great career overseas. Scott Wood, great shooter. But just one of those losses where just knew immediately, like, man, it wasn't even about them. It was about, man, we let Roy down.
So you kind of said it but didn't say it. Do you consider it a rivalry?
I don't know. I did not.
Yeah,
I did not. Now, clearly they were a better team predominantly a better team than other in-state schools, aka Wake Forest.
Yep.
I would not at the time. I would never put them in that conversation. But I just feel like most of their history is just so dated. No disrespect, they've won national championships before. David Thompson. Why am I blanking on the coach?
Oh, Sidney Lowe?
Yeah, Sidney. No,
when he played.
No, the
Jim Valvano.
Jim Valvano, man.
Yeah,
Jim Valvano.
Jimmy V.
Yeah. But I just feel like since then it's just there's really no rivalry. And like I said, like you could look at the record.
Yeah.
But I always enjoyed playing them, man. I always enjoyed playing them. I always enjoy watching Carolina play them because I know that there is this like underlying they want it to be a rivalry. So it's like, man, let's just go ahead and put these boys down.
Yeah. I would agree. I have a lot of respect for NC State.
For sure.
I played high school ball.
Yep.
Kozub McQueen's two sons.
Yep.
He was a national champion at NC State back in the day. Ton of respect for the school and the team, but I would call it a proximity rivalry.
Also, very tough.
Yeah.
So tough to be that close.
It's a proximity rivalry.
So tough.
And living in Raleigh now, and I go downtown, there's a lot of NC State fans.
I bet you get it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a little more removed from it now.
Yeah,
but like from 22 to 25, when people, remembered me and hated me, truly hated me, now it's like, oh, that guy, he made some threes. But actually, my other worst loss is to NC State.
Oh, wow, okay.
That was my freshman year.
Okay.
I think this was probably our worst loss.
Really?
Like that Miami loss, that was a good team.
Okay, yeah. That's
My freshman year, this NC State team finished the season 5-11 in the ACC, 11th in the ACC. That was Coach Sidney Lowe at the time, who I still know pretty well and is a great guy. And they recruited me too. I mean, it was so I knew those guys, and we lost 88-74. Funny enough, I was we talked about going on Sports Reference, and when you look up the scores of the games, and right above it gives you the other ACC games that were played that day. And it did make me feel good that UNC also lost on that day.
I think I do remember that.
To Wake Forest.
Oh, we lost?
Yeah. Well, this is my freshman year.
Oh,
that was before you.
That
was before you. Yeah, that was before you. So it was
that was a good Wake Forest team, though.
Unranked. All I'm saying is unranked. Yeah. You guys were 24th, and Wake Forest was unranked at the time.
That was Carolina's bad year, bro.
Yeah, they weren't very good.
No, bro, they were. That was one of the worst years in Carolina basketball.
They weren't very good. So, a bad loss that I just – and again, they had Scott Wood, Tracy Smith.
Okay.
Remember Tracy Smith, Dennis Horner, Javier Gonzalez, C.J. Williams off the bench, Richard Howell.
Oh, Richard Howell. Yeah, he was on that team.
Yeah, so a very good team. Yeah. And that was just a bad feeling loss. Yeah. And I remember being a freshman. I had lost games in the season. In Raleigh.
Okay.
Yes. That better not be at home. Yeah, I was at in Raleigh. And I remember going back to the gym after the game. And I didn't play in the game. Did I play? 2 minutes. I played 2 minutes at the end. I think the game was out of hand. And so that was my point. I wasn't that involved in either of these two bad losses, just in case you were all wondering. Wonder why. But I went back and I'm like, ooh, that was a bad loss. Like that feeling of that was a bad loss. What is the reaction going to be? Everybody was pissed in the locker room.
Did you go to class?
I did go to class.
Good for you.
But there was a lot on my mind for sure. I remember talking to Andre Dawkins, Mason Plumlee, my roommates, and we're like, we're going to get destroyed. I mean, it's that feeling like it's coming for us today. And we all went to the film session up in the K Center, the Krzyzewski Center, and it was, harsh, but it wasn't like the total scream at that you can imagine. But then we walked out right from that onto the court to start practice, and we're like, here it comes, here it comes. And to our shock, it was not bad. It was a light practice, and clearly he was playing with our minds. We were sweating, that whole no sleep that night. You're like, oh, here it comes.
Not like energetic during practice, but also like not too much energy because you just lost.
Exactly. Yep. So it was a light one, and whatever, I'm sure he thought a lot about what he was going to do to that day, but whatever, it worked. We then rolled through 11 straight ACC wins. We did sprinkle in one loss at Georgetown, which was a weird, random middle of the ACC out-of-conference game. But we went on a roll after that, and sometimes you just got to get that one out.
You get it out early, too.
Because as we talked about, the expectations are so high. To go undefeated in an ACC regular season is darn near impossible nowadays.
And no matter how long Coach K and Roy have done it, they always are going to need to feel that they have to remind their players of how important it is. Even though in the moment, I'm sure you guys knew.
Yep.
But he felt the need to do this reverse psychology with y'all. Just like Coach Roy felt the need to put the big old 33 up on the board to remind us for the rest of the year. And in both situations, it worked.
And I've said before, K hated losing more than he enjoyed winning. It didn't matter who it was to.
Yeah.
But certainly when we stepped on a court against any, like we talked about, any ACC opponent that wasn't Carolina, anything but winning by a lot was a disappointment.
Even winning by a lot, there was going to be ample just
So, that's how we look at it now that we're watching these Duke and Carolina games from our couches. I think we feel the same thing. Any loss that's not losing to Carolina, from a Duke perspective, is, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen.
All right.
But it's like, that's a good team.
We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. No matter what, it's in a different category.
Exactly.
Any other school, disowned.
Yeah.
Disowned.
And those are the moments from a team perspective, from a fan perspective. It's like, oh no, there's a huge problem if we're losing to NC State.
For sure. That's what I was going to say. You're going to hear it. Because for those teams, they're going to hold that over your head.
Yep.
They're always going to hold it over your head.
They gave it all they got.
Just this past year, Virginia Tech beat Carolina. One of my cousins texted me out of nowhere. I'm like, I ain't heard from you in a minute. But she had went to Virginia Tech. She just had to let me know, hey, we beat your Tar Heels, but it's all funny games.
They stuck the knife in. And she just twisted it a little bit.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like we said, we love being a part of it, and we love watching it now. So
exciting couple months. March, like we said, it's on its way. It's right around the corner.
Be here fast.
And, I'm hoping both our teams can at least give us both an opportunity to make a run. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great to have a Duke versus UNC end of the season game? I don't know where it is this year, if it's at Cameron or if it's at the Dean Dome, but
you want to be fighting for that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome though?
Yeah.
If that could be just, coming off the year that we had last year, if we could have another rematch for a championship. Who knows? Definitely they both have got a lot of work to go.
Inevitably, the preseason is a great test, but it's about hanging banners.
Yeah.
And that's regular season championships, ACC tournament championships, NCAA championships. And the first one is the regular season.
Yeah.
And both of these teams have aspirations to hang banners, and things need to start.
We both hung ACC regular season banners, man.
We did, yeah.
Cheers to that, man.
You were a bigger part of yours than I was of mine.
Hey, man, cheers to that, brother.
Clink.
Cheers to that, man. So, man, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us this episode. This was a fun little time just talking about some of the highs and lows, man. That's life.
That is the truth.
Any thoughts, comments, concerns? You can hit him at RyanKelly34 on all platforms. Any thoughts, comments, concerns? James
concerns.
McAdoo. Yeah,
concerns. Throw the concerns over there.
Your boy's 30, feeling good.
Yeah.
And feeling blessed, man. Thankful for y'all. Thankful for the Better Blue Podcast family out there. Haters, we appreciate y'all. See y'all throwing the shade. Keep it coming, man. We love it.
We love it. Hit that mailbag up, too. Like we said, the mailbag was an awesome success, so we'd love to see more. BetterBluePodcast@gmail.com. Shout out our guy.
Devin. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Making us look good. Sound good.
He does indeed.
Hit our guy, Devin, with any offers. And on that note,
the table's open.
Yep. Peace.
See you next week.